Context. Yeah. I'll keep this section short. I was doom scrolling on Instagram, you know, how anyone would, while I started to notice more and more of my feed flooding with new indie projects. In terms of how the gaming landscape seems to be, you know, with all the layoffs and uncertainty, seeing the passion from small teams that seem human is a big fresh of breath. I love writing. Is a big breath of fresh air. So I started seeing more goofy and fun ideas on my For You page. When eventually I got a very rough ad for a game where the text said something like, imagine playing as robot cowboys wielding magic and fighting off the undead. That statement right there caught my attention. Not some stupid corporate BS about, you know, like this game is epic. Be a real gamer. something like that. I don't know. A simple line of text and some gameplay was enough for me to go, I truly want to check this out. And as a little note to add in there, I think all indie devs should do this, because with the example I made before, a game that is AAA, I feel has the same kind of marketing push every time it comes out. Show some pre-rendered, pre-arranged situation to show gameplay and put some epic music in, and surely people will buy it. Wow, look at this. Look at this game, guys. Look at what that did. Isn't that awesome? That's what you can do if you buy our very buggy game for $70. Oh, by the way, we have microtransactions. I hope you like those. With this being the norm for AAA, having indie devs simply tell us what their game is while maybe sprinkling in some comedy is a perfect contrast to catch attention, and I'm all for it. Just show me what you're working on. If the idea is interesting or up my alley, you bet I'm going to be checking it out. And that is what I did with Far Far West. I saw this video and immediately had it check most of my autism boxes for video games. So I played the alpha they had and was very happy with what I got. And then they removed the alpha from my library. Let me tell you how sad I was when I had to delete this game. Twice! I only played it in its early stages twice, and it wasn't enough. I needed more. A few months go by, and then they released a trailer for early access. I locked in, added to my wish list, and counted down the days until I was able to get my grubby, maybe clean, pause on the game. That brings us to now, and after my first initial playthrough of what we have for the game, here are my thoughts. Pros and cons. Pro number 1, polish. One of the very first things I noticed about this game was the fact that for the alpha, the game ran like butter. I do have a good PC, but certain games that don't get optimization right are very obvious. So when I bought the early access release, I was relieved to see the game, you know, actually works. And it works well. Not only does the game run well, but everything just feels snappy and clean. Any menu navigating is quick and responsive, and going through settings is simple yet somewhat satisfying with the sounds that the buttons make. I won't spend too much time on this, but I think nowadays I like knowing that a game I bought is prioritizing the optimization and flow of how the game feels just to open and start. I appreciate this immensely, and I am sure other people do as well. Pro number 2, music. A lot of my first impressions of this game are going to be from when I played their open alpha or playtest or whatever the first time I played was. They called it a few things. It was demo, alpha, I don't remember. It wasn't the early access, that's for sure. But when I first heard the music while trying to extract from the map, I knew I was in for a treat. Not just this track in particular, every song in the game so far, yes, so far I haven't gotten to these maps, makes me feel like I am a cowboy and want to be a better cowboy. You wanting to get an ice cold beer? Well, it's going to sound like you know I want an ice cold beer in this nice little pub section. Riding a flying train into battle? Well, don't worry, it's going to sound exactly like that. Yeah, we got flying trains, ain't that cool? Fighting an army of the undead while shooting dual pistols that blow up once you throw it, run out of ammo? Yes, you guessed it! It's going to sound exactly like that! This ain't no Expedition 33 Lorien Testard Game of the Year winning soundtrack, but for a game developed by 8-ish people, the music is very memorable and charming. I joked about feeling like a cowboy, but I don't feel like ever turning the music off because it keeps me locked in, especially in higher difficulties where the music can even add to the tension that's building up. Overall, the music does well to deliver the experience of being a robot wizard cowboy. Pro number 3, the feel. I mentioned feeling like a cowboy. That feeling is only amplified with the setting that you have been placed in. The moment you boot up the game, past the tutorial, which is just as immersive as everything else, you start in the main hub area with a cold one in your hand, ready to start a fight. However, you can't fist fight anyone. yet. Devs, please add bar fights. You walk out of the saloon and are greeted with a charming looking town with all the shops you'll need for your undead army hunting shenanigans. Each shop has a vendor doing something or other, and for how little NPCs there truly are, it feels alive in some way. And to be fair, most of the civilians are drinking at the bar, so that's where most of your population is. When you go into a mission, you have this sense of adventure you wish to seek out. Meanwhile, trying to avoid the walking dead, and flying dead in some cases, and escape with your good loot and XP. Sometimes you're in a rush, but other times you just want to take in the wasteland around you. One map on hard mode makes it nighttime, and it looked very pretty, you know, once you look past the army of shrieking skeletons and elemental chaos. So some of the joy that comes from this game is how it feels to be dropped in the world, and I think this game is nailing the atmosphere so far. And as I mentioned before, I haven't even gone to the other maps, and I am very much looking forward to what those are like. But yeah, they nailed the look and feel of this game. Pro number 4, gameplay, game loop. We love the gameplay. Hopefully the game's good. It is. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I spoiled it. This one could be longer, so I will attempt to be brief with each of these mechanics. The best way I would describe this game would be as a PvE horde shooter. That may be a simplification, but I don't feel like calling it an extraction shooter simply because I associate hardcore players with that sort of thing. In this game, you keep what you earn, but lose what you don't keep. Let me explain. Each match is going to play the same in structure. You drop in, complete your main objectives, fight the boss, and get out before you get swallowed by the storms. Storms in this game are just endless spawning skeletons, which for farming reasons is awesome. Once you extract at the flying train, yes, they fly, I already mentioned this, you level up, get currency, and repeat. Now, there are always side objectives and side quests you can do during the mission. This is how you can get extra goodies before extracting. Whether that's more XP, more currency, or completing quests that unlock other maps. Or collectibles. I know you can collect music discs, so I haven't done that yet. You can also unlock blueprints, which are used to obtain other weapons and utility packs. Utility packs are kind of like grenades. You track these at the gun shop, and while you're on a mission, any quest or random event that drops blueprints will drop the print you are currently tracking. This is where the extraction part becomes slightly similar to extraction games. If you are on a mission and you've got a lot of gold, souls, and blueprints, if you die or your team wipes, you lose all that stuff. But wait up, hold on. This game values your time for now, because you only lose what you earned in that match. You never lose stuff you are able to extract with, and that is awesome. The one thing that gets me about extraction shooters is I can lose my progress in an instant. This game doesn't do that, but it does punish recklessness. So make sure you are properly geared up to take on a mission before going in, because you'll have to redo it if you are aiming for certain progression goals. Before moving on to the next part of the gameplay pro, I just want to acknowledge how interactive the side objectives are. Most of them are puzzles, but they aren't complex puzzles. They require maybe enough brain power to think, wait a second, and then being able to solve it. And depending on how many people you are playing with, the puzzles can be solved quickly or just normally. If you got good teamwork, you'll make the puzzles seem very fun and easy. As for the gunplay, I will always draw this comparison because it is baked into my soul. But Destiny 2 gunplay, yes, I'm bringing up Destiny 2, is unmatched and nothing comes close. You cannot convince me. With that being said, I still enjoy the guns in this game. The guns are solid to shoot, they have fun little reload animations, and overall match the vibe this game has going for it. I haven't unlocked all of the guns yet, but I plan on trying each one out to see which is my favorite. So far, I am loving the shotgun and dual pistol combo. Now for the fun part of the combat, the magic. The magic system is fairly simple. You use the magic to level up the magic. Yeah, like I said, it's simple. You didn't hear me the first time? Yeah, that's what I thought. Higher levels have cooler spells, and you can hold up to 3 spells. I haven't confirmed if you can wield multiple of the same magic type. Editing Colin will have to check that for me. Thank you, Colin. I love you. Smooches. The magic in the game isn't too crazy, at least starting out. You have cards that you play which dish out certain magic depending on what you selected. Right now, I have a giant geyser of acid that spews out of the ground, and a giant fire beam that also spews out of the ground. You know, not too different there. And I also have a blast of lightning that gets called down from the sky, and that's pretty cool too. Like I mentioned, the more you kill things with the magic type, you will level that magic up and eventually have all the spells for the magic type. The types they have now are fire, lightning, acid, voodoo, and cactus. Wait a second. Yeah, so when I first saw this, I was like, how do you make a cactus subclass of magic? Then realized each magic type has a little description of what it specializes in. It's either utility, offense, I don't think there's a defense. I think it's utility, offense, and that's it. I actually don't think there's defense yet. They should add that. Anyway, the cactus is essentially your summoner class. Eventually, you can summon a cactus friend to help you kill skeletons with. How cute is that? I'm gonna name you Fred. Yeah, the magic combined with the shooting is awesome, and there's a little thing you can do with some magic that I think sets this game apart, but I'm going to give that in its own section just because of how cool it is. The last bit of gameplay I'll touch on here is the Joker system. This is essentially your passive buff/debuff system, but in the style that Far Far West presents. Magic seems to be tied to playing cards, which you can encounter on your run each time you play. These buffs are what you would typically find in any kind of roguelike, but these buffs have rarities and can be found or even dropped by slain monsters. While the cards you find during the missions are for that specific run only and disappear once completed, they are acquirable and equipable back at the hub area. You see there's this cart that I like to call the gambling cart, and you can spend souls to roll for a random Joker that can be applied to either your weapons or your character. From my knowledge of the alpha, I was able to pull a legendary Joker, which I think it increased my gun damage 0.3% or something like that every match I completed. And I think it had a hard cap, but basically the more you play, the stronger the gun gets. I hope that's still in the game because I will gamble away my life savings for a juicy legendary card. Editor note, I've been playing the game since writing this and I have unlocked 2 legendaries, both of which I think are technically mid, but nonetheless they're cool to have. You can also purchase Jokers from the upgrade vendor, and depending on your level and certain quests, you will progressively unlock more and more variety in what kind of Jokers can be applied. You can equip Jokers depending on character level. The higher level you are, the more Jokers can be equipped. The change they made, which I think makes sense for balancing, is that certain cards take up multiple slots. I think white takes up 1, green takes 2, blue 3, and so on. This makes sense considering some of the higher rarities seem gassed up already, and pairing it with some potential second copy of a legendary seems insane to me. Oh, did I mention you can have more than one of the same Joker? Yeah, you can get multiples of these cards. You can have a copy of movement speed on all slots and become super fast. That's just one example because that's the card I keep getting, but I think some cards don't stack, and if I'm wrong about having multiple of the same card on, I think they should fix that because that would be more fun in my opinion. Overall, I think the Joker system is fun, and I look forward to seeing what other types of cards exist within the game so far. I think that wraps up most of the general gameplay of what will be going on, and if I missed anything, so sorry, I'm not gonna look for it. But I think I covered what needed to be covered. The systems this game has as a start to an early access already feels so fleshed out, and I'm very much excited to see how they improve. One last thing I will mention is that the quests actually seem a little more in depth. Earlier today, me and my brother played, and we found this secret tying in all the maps to one secret. There's like this purple snowman thing. I don't know, I thought this was cool because this was not explained at all in anything, and I like it when games do that. So yeah, overall gameplay so far so good, and genuinely I'm having a lot of fun. That was pro number 4. My gosh, that's a lot of words. Okay, number 5, progression. There's a lot more than I thought. I'll make this shorter, I swear. The progression in this game seems big. Little too big, but I won't touch on that yet. The only reason I say that is because there are supposedly 100 levels you can achieve on both a character and a gun. After getting to that level, you can prestige, which essentially means restarting but with an extra permanent buff to your character. Not only is it a flex to say I made it to 100 and restarted, but how I think it works is you get these tickets, which can improve how many points you can put on your gun and character. The max amount you can get on your first go around is 20 points, and you can allocate it to different skills like ammo, jump speed, damage. Guns have different ones. Some of the guns have lifesteal, which I think is crazy. But each time you prestige, I assume you get this ticket and can choose where to place it and what to upgrade even further. I like this. I almost hope there's more to it, if not now, later down the line, where maybe, like, I don't know, the weapons get like passive buffs down here. But that, I don't know, I'm just thinking of stuff right now. The reason I am a bit worried about this is because I wonder how long it takes to get to level 100. And then I wonder how much of this game can keep the replayability alive to the point where you have prestiged however many times you can prestige. I don't know. I think it's 10 times. So the question would be, is it worth it to level up 1,000 times to get like the max benefits, the max upgrades, and then go into the harder content? And then yeah, that's the second question. Will there be content that reflects the harder power levels? And I really hope there is. Whenever you start the game, they show a screen of what they want to add, and they keep it vague on purpose. But one of the things on there is harder content, or it was something like that. I bet they already know the scale in which people can grow more powerful, and I look forward to seeing how they implement that. For now, the game has enough for me to sink my teeth into, so I'll take what we have for now. I like the simplicity of this progression system they have, and yeah, I think that's it. Oh, wait, last thing. The guns have red rarity jokers that unlock after certain levels. These look cool, and I'm excited. Okay, that's it for this one. Number 6, multiplayer and solo friendly. This game has the most simplistic way of playing the game with people. You can either start a public session or join one. Joining a match, for me at least, takes a maximum of like 5 seconds, and it's insane how consistent this has been. You can join missions midway through as well. Obviously, you can't tell exactly how far someone is into a match, but the map they are on will be indicated when selecting who to join. You also have difficulty searches that make finding the matches you want to play way easier. Like I said, simple, yet it's just nice and refreshing to see an interface not be so utterly complicated. I want to play with people, I click and join. It's that easy. As for solo players, don't worry. I didn't forget you, you precious little bean. You create a private lobby and choose to play solo. The one thing I will say is playing with a group versus playing by yourself is almost a night and day difference. I tried playing normal by myself for one of the objectives, and I got completely overrun by small skeletons with barrels that blew up when they got too close to me. Mind you, this was my first game, and it annoyed me so bad I almost considered making them a con on my list. I think I'm dead. But the more I play, the more I realize everything has a counter. Nothing is too unfair. You just kind of need to pay attention, which is a struggle for me. Especially in solo, because you've got no one watching your back, so that's pretty important. The game so far has 5 difficulties, and normal by myself, in the beginning at least, was a challenge. So, if you're a Lone Ranger, expect a good fight, because this game will offer one. But if you've got a squad, prepare to have a fun time, because although it won't be as hard, it can definitely still get crazy. Pro number 7, difficulty. I already talked about this briefly in the last pro, but this game is not pushover easy if you play solo. I haven't maxed out what my character is capable of, so I really have no idea how difficulty fares in the long run. But for the normal Joe who maybe won't try speedrunning this game instantly, I don't see you getting bored with how easy the game is. It's also in early access, and as I mentioned before, the devs seem to be aware that more difficulty options will need to be added in the long run. So if you somehow manage to max prestige and become a robot cowboy god, you might get a tad bored for now, but again, I don't personally see this being the case for long. To put it simply, for those wanting a challenge, solo will be the best option. As for squads, it will be a bit more bearable on harder difficulties, but don't think that keeps you from getting overrun by a bunch of elites in hard mode and up. Speaking of elites, that brings us to the final pro. Pro number 8. Enemy variety. This will be very much to each individual's definition on what they think good enemy variety is, but I think for this specific game, there is enough. I don't know if I'd say it's a huge amount, but for the state it's in, there's plenty of variety in what you fight for the game to feel fresh. Going off the top of my head, I can count 12 different types of enemies you face in this game. And when I was counting on my fingers how many enemies I've seen so far, I actually didn't realize how big that number was. And I have 13. That is 13. I lied. I remembered. The Marauders. They're basically enemy robot mercenaries you can find along the map that drop gold. Ooh, yay, gold. Where was I? Oh, right. Okay, sorry. 13 off the top of my head. I think there's 13. The thing that may not have a lot of variety would be the bosses. I think I have only seen 4, which again, they can add more later down the line. And honestly, each of the bosses are fun. Put a little side note here. Depending on the difficulty, the bosses have certain buffs and moves that make the game harder. I don't know if I have footage of this. I only saw it once, but anyway, yeah, there's a good amount of dudes to fight. I don't see myself getting bored anytime soon. Number 1, spell combos. I mentioned in the gameplay section of the video that there was a little special something that you can do with the magic, and you may have been seeing me do it in the background gameplay. You can make combos with your magic. For example, and personally my favorite example so far, if you take the geyser spell from the acidity magic and combine it with the fire pillar, you create a tracking fire tornado! This is probably something they may need to nerf, because on one of the bosses, if you have even 2 of these bad boys active, it melts the boss. Funny, but they gotta buff the house boss. Anyway, don't like the fire tornado? Feel like it's too busted? That's fine. Why don't you combine the lightning surge with the geyser instead and multiply how many geysers are up at once while having bursts of lightning go off around it? Better yet, if your timing is right, do all of the above at once and decimate everything in your path! Sorry, I got a little excited. There's more combos to be had, but I think I'll leave those for you to find out. I think this idea sets the magic up to be a very useful tool in the harder difficulties, and I sincerely hope they add more as the game grows. Number 2, useless jokers. I don't know, I think they're funny, but this one... This one replaces your footsteps with duck noises, and it's really annoying. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, that is all the pros. Now I will go over the cons I have about the game thus far. There's really only 3, maybe 2 if you're counting one. And the first con I'm going to do is kind of the one I already mentioned before, boss variety. Like I said, the bosses are fun, and I really do like all of them, and I haven't even seen what like nightmare difficulty bosses are like, and I'm sure those are crazy. However, I think only having 4-ish, I'm saying 4-ish because I don't know if there's a secret boss. Say having only 4 bosses is kind of, I don't know, underwhelming, but I don't know. This is more of a nitpick than anything. I hope they add more bosses, but this is one I wanted to add in there since realizing. Con number 2, the parkour and racing quest line in the canyon section of the maps. This quest involves you going around the map through rings until you get a counter down to 0. Now the idea isn't terrible, and normally I wouldn't even have thought about it being bad if it wasn't required for everyone to complete. Having it require all players to complete it, especially on random lobbies, takes forever to complete. If you can complete it at all, actually. Some people just stop halfway and do some other objective. This is a nitpick, but also I just don't like these quests. The parkour one isn't terrible, but my little brother is, so we waited a long time before we completed the quest. Skill issue? Absolutely. Good quest? To be determined. I don't know exactly what advice I'd give the devs to make it more bearable, but if anything needs to be said, I think only one person should have to complete the race to qualify it as complete. Almost every single objective I have played in this game has the ability to be solved with a single player. Quests should be the same. Sure, it's a lot easier and faster with a group, but we don't want to rule out the idea that people like to play alone sometimes, so it is possible to play. To clarify, on a solo run, this quest makes sense, but with everyone else, every person in the lobby needs to complete it. I think there should be some leniency with this in the future. Heck, maybe even incentivize people to complete the race and actually race the other players. Maybe whoever wins first place gets a blueprint and no one else does. I don't know. That's just one idea. But that's where I stand on this quest, specifically in public lobbies. And like I said, this is more of a just like nitpick person. This doesn't really affect how I view the game. I just specifically don't like this quest. Number 3, and thankfully this is the last one. It is in early access. I'm like half joking putting this as a con, but the problem with early access titles is that any cons I have could be later remedied. Even with that fact, I am unsure I have any other complaints about the game to objectively say this is something I don't like. I am being so honest right now, I can't think of anything else. The bosses, sure, the quest I absolutely despise, but everything else, I don't think there's anything else that I dislike. With that being said, I'm not going, I don't know, I can't give this game a 10 out of 10. There may be nothing bad worth pointing out at the moment, but there are things I think could make the longevity of this game shine like no other. Future improvements. Speak up, they can't hear you. I said future improvements. Endgame concern. For at least the 3rd time, the devs seem to know that they need harder content. With the harder content, I hope the endgame feels worth the grind. That is something that can kill a game of this caliber. A game can have good bones to it, but the devs don't consider how fun it is to climb the ranks and pursue that extra challenge and extra gear. And then it ends up causing friction between people wanting your game to be amazing, but being stuck with a boring grind cycle to get something maybe worth their time. So far, everything I'm seeing in this game is golden. And if they can listen to the community and keep building, I have high hopes that they can keep those unemployed fans of the game at bay with higher deltas in content and reward. I simply hope they listen to any feedback on how long it takes to reach certain goals, i.e. prestige level and gun levels. That sort of thing. That's what I'm hoping for. Not enough magic. This is just a me thing, not a critique. I am very greedy. Developers, this part is for you. Keys, you hear that? I'm jingling the keys. Please pay attention. The magic you have in the game now, it's good. I'd even say there's a lot to choose from. However, I am giving you permission as the random person on the internet to be unapologetically unoriginal with your magic. What I mean by that is start stealing ideas. I'm not kidding. Scour the internet for games with magic and just start throwing them into this game. In case I never mentioned how many hours I have in Destiny 2, here are some ideas that you could borrow. A Titan bubble that shields incoming fire and buffs allies inside. Make it a voodoo spell because this is purple and this is also purple. A warlock well that does almost the same thing except instead of protecting, all damage inside is buffed and turned into fire damage. Healing is welcome. Destiny has stasis, which is basically an ice subclass. Ice magic? Maybe some ice magic devs. Ooh. Keys. Ever play Helldivers? They have mechs. Make a cactus mech that has a minigun, shoots ammo, thorns on the left side, and shoots a big cannon on the right side. It shoots cactus balls, and they do a lot of damage. I don't know. Maybe they exploded with pins, too. Make it extra lethal. This is just the tip of the iceberg with ideas you could borrow, but I think the sky's the limit with what potential magic types can be added, and I am looking forward to new spells and potentially new magic. Please add ice. Please add bar fights. Okay. All right, devs, hey, one more jingle. I love what you did with the hub area. Sometimes I'll just walk around and take in what a cool place you guys have put together. But sometimes I also want to punch something. You gave me the ability to fist fight. Now let me beat up everyone in the bar. Here's my pitch, okay? And I'm dead serious about this. Please consider. The moment you punch someone in the bar, all heck breaks loose and everyone starts fighting. Music changes to a high-tempo banjo solo and it's a fight for survival. You can flip tables, throw chairs and cups, and even perform finishers on folks who lost the fight. I don't know. I'm thinking like an example would be like just wrestling moves. Like you hold F on someone when they're low on health and you just RKO them. I don't know, just something to think about. Let's say for simplicity and lore reasons, your health can't reach 0 in a bar fight, but cuts off at like 10 HP. If you get down to 10, you black out and wake up in the jail cell at the sheriff's office with text that pops up saying something like, lost the bar fight. Sheriff maybe reprimands you a bit saying, oh, you shouldn't do that or something, I don't know. And then you go back to your business. If you win the bar fight, which basically means you beat everyone up, you get the you won the bar fight or something similar. And a cutscene plays where the sheriff walks in, gets mad at you, and still throws you in a cell because you, well, so you started a bar fight. This idea adds absolutely nothing to the game. In terms of progression, I just think it would be funny if people who are trying to figure out settings accidentally melee someone and then they, start a really funny, chaotic bar fight. And when I say heck breaks loose, I mean make the enemy AI indiscriminate. They go after anything that moves. They're fighting each other, they're fighting you. Make it total chaos. If you added this, I would be so happy. And I think it could work in the setting provided, and I think it would just be a funny little thing. People would be like, yeah, this game has bar fights. But yeah, you should add this. I want a roguelike mode. I'll keep this brief. You've already got the Joker system, right? Add a few more cards and make an endless wave mode or new map, where the further you go, the harder the game gets. Right now, I'm imagining a cave that you explore, maybe like an old mining facility. You can explore, find some goodies, but the farther you go, the more enemies start to spawn in and the harder it gets. At every round, you get 3 options to add to your Joker collection. I'm almost expecting some type of roguelike mode in the future because the systems for Jokers already are very much what you'd find in standard roguelike. But just in case that wasn't really a thought, devs, hey, oh, yep, you hear that in the background? Yep, that's your call. I know you would earn some brownie points by doing this. Conclusion. This game, at its core, is very much a video game. A fun, at times crazy, video game. You aren't getting some hyper-realism FPS extraction shooter. You are getting a Wild West themed adventure with an undead army and robot magic wielding cowboys. Did I say that correctly? I don't English very well. Also, maybe aliens, question mark? Interesting. This was a release I had been looking forward to for a while, and now that it's out in my hands, hopefully permanently, I can safely suggest buying this game if you are even remotely interested. For a game that's in early access, having this level of polish and this level of praise on the first week of launch, I can't tell you how excited I am to play every major update that comes out. The game is so much fun, and I haven't found many games to be drawing me in as of lately, so the Far Far West development team, I wish you luck on your journey, and I am very excited to see what comes down the pipeline. Hey, okay, so that was a lot of words. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. I gave all my thoughts already on the game. I'm genuinely having so much fun with it, and it was the best like $17 I've spent on a video game. I think I already mentioned it, but if this remotely piqued your interest, I suggest getting the game. Outside of the game, if you liked this type of content and you want to see more of me just talking about video games or autism things that I like, I don't even know if that was a real sentence. If anyone wants to hear me yap, let me know in the comments. What also helps me know is if you like and subscribe. If I get subscribe, I do a little dance. If you liked what you watched, I want to make more. This is a brand new channel. I've already mentioned it in other videos as well, but I'm trying to get my footing, trying to figure out what I want to do. So if you are somewhat interested in what kind of human being I am, liking and subscribing would be the best way to show any amount of appreciation, and it would definitely inspire me to keep going, because I feel as though it's easy to get lost, distracted, and just to lose track of what makes you happy. I like doing this, so if you liked what you saw, a like, comment, and subscribe, I know it's easy to say, genuinely would mean the world to me. Aside from that, I do want to make more stuff, so yeah, I mean, if you're new here, welcome in. But aside from that, thanks for watching, and yeah, I will see you in another video. Okay, I gotta take this. Yep. No, I know, she said that. Yes. What do you mean she's at the police station?